Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming to the 1 Million Cups. This is the Fairfax edition of 1 Million Cups. It's part of the Kaufman Foundation, where we educate, engage, and connect individuals and people together. There's over 200 communities of the 1 Million Cups going on right now, between 9 and 10 throughout the nation. It's a great organization. We help support each other through these presentations. As Tony said, please log on to the 1 Million Cups app and mark that you're here. Right now we have, let's see, who's here right now? We have Dan, myself, and Ken Portnoy. So if everybody can please go to the 1 Million Cups app and do the check-in, that'd be great. Thank you so much. We don't have many of our organizers here, but if they could please come up and we can help introduce them before some of them head out.
Hi, I'm John Yu with Office Evolution.
Russ McIntosh, Vision Idea Design.
Tony Barnett.
Laura Drain, Random Words Marketing.
All right, thank you. And in addition to our organizers, we also have great sponsors. John, would you like to say a word about Office Evolution?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so Office Evolution, we're located right across from Hall, on the other side of this building. What's different about us, we're a co-working space. We provide fully furnished office space as well as virtual office. And what's different is that we support entrepreneurs that are locally located, and we help them not only by providing a venue for office for 1 Million Cups. Also, we provide a number of workshops to help them grow. So if you're wanting to learn a little more about Office Solutions, please let me know.
All right. And then we have our lovely coffee sponsor, Mr. Ken Portnoy with Toastmasters.
It's called 1 Million Cups, so get your coffee. Today's coffee is from Rare Bird Coffee Roasters. They are a small, single location coffee roaster and cafe in Falls Church City. I am hyping them because I love them, not because I'm remunerated for hyping them. They are the best coffee, the best tea, and if you like strawberry rhubarb pie, if you're lucky, it's there when you get there because it goes fast. I am here representing my Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters is the most cost-effective public speaking and leadership development program in the known universe. If you have issues with being a better speaker, and doesn't everybody, we can get you to stop saying and 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 turn you from a amateur speaker into a professional quality speaker. You have to put in the effort, you have to do the work, but if that's what you'd like to be, so that you can be a better speaker and a better leader for wherever you want to have an impact, Toastmasters is a great place for you to do that. We're a regional, open to the community in Tyson's Corner. We specialize in solopreneurs, small business employees, because the big guys, BAE, BAH, KPMG, Capital One, they all have their own Toastmasters clubs because they think it's that important for their employees. You can have that benefit if you don't work for those folks. Talk to me about Toastmasters.
Great. And at this time, I'd like to find out who else is in the room. And we'll start right here.
Kevin O'Connell, founder of FY and Creative, a digital storytelling company here in Arlington, Virginia, and a former 1 Million Cups presenter.
Great.
And will be giving us an update at the end of the day, or morning, I should say.
David Hillison, small group health insurance future presenter at 1 Million Cups.
Jeff Englander, Zona Systems, cybersecurity.
Dan Lender, founder of Golden Rule Home Watch and Concierge. We watch vacant homes and properties.
John, one more.
John Yu, supporter of 1 Million Cups.
And we'll go back here to Karen.
Fairfax County Economic Development Authority.
Laura Drain with Random Words. I provide help to startups, especially for the minorities that need so much help. So if you know anybody that needs help for set up their business, just let me know. I help with web pages and business.
And Rosie Bloom, Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. The marketing arm of Fairfax County.
Peter Shin, Korea Business Development Center. I'm connecting people and they're connecting business as well.
Oh, Ken Portnoy, Tyson's Regional Toastmasters.
George Sarabia, supporter of 1 Million Cups.
Cami Ashley, Experis IT.
Sabina Eiblis Shackley, Natural Nutrition Products.
Okay. I'm going to be dual personality here for a moment. I'm Tony Barnett, working on my own as a business consultant, and also I am channeling Donnell Johns, who is watching live, who says good morning, and and we'll move on. He will be returning next week.
Great.
Alan Anderson, I provide part-time sales assistance for small businesses and startups.
And we'll be bringing you up in just a minute. You have plenty of time. I'm Ross McIntosh, the owner of Vision Idea Design. We're an all-inclusive graphic design firm in Fairfax City. And now I'd like to bring you up and we're going to introduce Accure, AI, artificial intelligence software company that's doing great things for businesses. And I'd love to hear more about it.
Yes, great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So do I need to be?
No, you're right in the right spot.
Okay, great. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm really very excited to be here at 1 Million Cups. I would like to very quickly introduce the company, about myself, the company, and what we're doing. And I need to reach to my, so I can change this.
Russ, you help him out.
Is there any clicker that I can use? So, as a company Accure, we do software development for AI, and we do AI basically platform development. And we have developed a platform called Momentum, which we'll talk about very quickly. Sorry.
Enter button for you.
Yeah, Russ, just hit the arrow button for him.
So when you're ready,
Yeah, just Russ, just turn the computer around and just sit down. Okay, go ahead, please.
Sorry.
So Accure is a cognitive computing company, and what our mission is here to actually close data science skill gap. And so basically what we did for that, we developed a platform called Momentum, which automates AI development. And that actually helps save companies about 50% on average of their AI solution development. And that too without hiring data scientists. And data scientists are typically PhDs in data science, very small in number, so they are very high in demand, very expensive. So we basically try to address that problem, that how can we build AI without hiring a data scientist. So as a company, what we do is that we offer Momentum platform, and also we basically provide AI advisory service, data science service, as well as AI development, like solution development based on artificial intelligence. So what the problem that we are trying to solve, managing data asset is a big challenge, and that's, everybody agrees that data is growing so fast that managing and keeping basically accurate count of data is very challenging. And these are some of the statistics that are actually based on certain research and the source I have provided, that typically 94% companies actually use and manage multiple sources of data. And they also have basically not good or accurate data. So that costs about $3 trillion yearly US, in the US, to manage and basically bad data, basically. So to manage bad data, it costs about $3 trillion. That's a huge amount of money that gets lost. So basically what we have here, and also, so one problem is managing the bad data, or basically managing data in general. The second problem is that making sense out of that data is even harder. And typically when we manage the data and make sense out of the data, we hire data scientists who are typically PhDs in data science. So we see here that 88% data scientists have master's degree, 46% are PhD, and their salary grew from average $91,000 to $250,000. So they are becoming basically very expensive. So traditionally, how we build AI. So traditionally, in order to build AI, you have to actually have different people to do different operations. For example, first you access the data, clean the data, make the data ready for AI. Then the second thing is that you blend data from multiple sources. So today we are talking about data from a lot of different sources, different formats. So basically bring the data in one place and then basically blend them together. You use different tools to do that. And then second thing is that once data is ready, then have data scientists to build the models. And once the model is ready, then depend on engineering to basically deploy that model. And then business people actually do the visualization and basically the BI in typical sense. So you see that multiple tools are used, multiple processes, and these are all very expensive processes. So these are some of the problems that we are trying to address. So one is basically data science is skill problem. Then the other problem is that we have the data asset is hard to manage and hard to actually interpret. So for that, we built a platform, and you saw that in the previous screen that to build AI, there are multiple steps, expensive steps, and multiple tools are typically being used. What we do, we build this platform, which is a comprehensive AI platform, to basically ingest data from multiple data sources, and you can build AI model without writing a single line of code, and then finally you can visualize that. So it's one single platform, does it all. And so you don't need to use multiple tools, multiple skill set to build this. And the best part is that in order to build AI model and finally to visualize basically your output, you don't need to actually write a single line of code, which is very powerful. So very quickly what this platform does and what you can do actually on top of Momentum, that it actually allows you to ingest data from multiple types of data sources and multiple data sources at the same time. And also, typically in AI, 80% time data scientists spend is in data transformation, or basically in other words, we call it data wrangling. And that's a repetitive task, but it's very important, but at the same time, 80% is a very cost-effective exercise. Very costly exercise. So what we do is that we streamline that process by providing a very well-known transformation engine on top of SQL language, but behind the scene it's managed very efficiently, and it's scalable and all that. So basically we have a transformation engine, and then you can automate the data flow from source all the way to wherever you want the data to be. And then you can customize that, of course. And then this is the data part, and I'm talking about now machine learning and AI, that building the AI solution, just bring the data, plug into a model, and select the model and just run. And it will build multiple models and multiple types of models, and then it will actually select the right model for you. So building the model without writing a single line of code. Similarly, we have built-in trained models for natural language processing. We also have built-in support for optical character recognition and handwriting recognition. And then you can basically process very large amount of data or scheming data coming from sensors and devices, and very high scale basically streaming data. and then finally visualize them on a dashboard or using graphs and charts and all that. So basically, what you can build on top of this platform are the use cases, the business use cases that we have developed, such as, I don't need to read each one of them, but you see that there's a wide variety of applications that you can build on top of the platform, and we have done that. Huge market opportunity, and I don't need to explain this. It's very obvious that the AI market is huge, 89 billion market opportunity, and it's growing. So how Momentum can address and fit in that market? So we basically, you see that first thing is that time saving. So automate AI development so that on an average you can save 9 to 12 months of AI development, which is a huge saving. And no coding platform. You don't need to be PhD in data science to work on this platform. And then typically AI takes enormous amount of time because you have to repeatedly tweak it and make it work, and there's a lot of iteration that you have to go through. So it takes an enormous amount of time to build AI. Here we're talking about days, not really months or years, when we build the AI on top of the platform. And highly scalable. So for AI, we need large amount of data. And managing that large amount of data and processing it fast, we provide a very highly scalable platform where you can process billions of records very quickly. And it can be deployed in on-premise, hybrid, or on-premise, or on cloud, or in hybrid model. So where we actually fit in this metrics, like how do we compare ourselves with some of the similar platforms or technology? There are definitely, so on this axis we have like completeness in terms of features and functionality, like right from data ingestion all the way to visualization. If we map that, of course, legacy companies like BI companies like Oracle and SAP, they have a lot of bells and whistles, good features, and they're very complete from that perspective. But they're very hard to actually use, and you need very specialized, trained people to work on those platforms. On the other hand, if I'm actually going to all the way here, where you have BI workbench, or like Tableau or Click or Power BI or such BI tool, they're good for visualization, but they're not actually a complete data science platform. So you see that from the completeness perspective, they're at the bottom, but from the ease of use perspective, they're really all the way up here. So basically, we touch all aspects of AI, like data ingestion all the way to visualization, and we see ourselves definitely in this fourth quadrant. So, that gives us actually a very high value platform that we can actually build AI solution end to end. As a company, we definitely have had a lot of experience. We built 50 plus AI use cases, 200 billion records, and it's still processing. And we have processed 500 terabytes, or even as I'm speaking, it's processing millions of records. So we have definitely gained a lot of experience. We have a very solid team, and I'm very fortunate to work with such a good team. Myself and another co-founder, Raza, we are like 20 years friend. So basically, and then Lester, Patrick, all these people are definitely very experienced, savvy, and helping us. And then we have some advisors from Smart City Works, and actually I'm a part of Smart City Works as well. They are basically an accelerator program. We have established very solid foundation by partnering with some of the leading consulting companies in the world, such as IBM, Boston Consulting, Johnson's Control, and Deloitte. I'm very happy and very fortunate to be here, and I would like to actually say why, what I'm actually looking for and why I'm here. So basically, as I mentioned, that a skill gap is something that we definitely want to address. And this platform does not require PhD or even a skill in data science. So one actually effort that we have is that we want to establish partnership and build ecosystem of people where we train those people who don't have a skill in data science but still want to work in AI. And this platform will definitely help them to transition from, basically transition from whatever they're working to a AI industry. And so we can actually help industry to get the trained resources, at the same time people who would be basically interested in working in AI without having that background. So that's one part. And the second thing is that we definitely, some of you might become our customers in the future. So we definitely are looking for customers. We're looking for partners to actually work with them. We are definitely looking for system integrators, IT service companies, so we can actually build a partnership, and we take this company forward as a community. So I would actually stop right here, and thank you very much.
All right, good morning. So a couple of quick rules before the Q&A session. Make sure that you're logged into your 1 Million Cups app. You have note cards in front of you with pens. Please make sure if you do have a question that you write down your contact information as well as the questions so that we can collect those at the end. And when I point to you, please give us your name, the company you work with, and then the question. And don't take 15 minutes to elaborate on a question. Just try and get to the point as quickly as possible. So our first question is Mr. Yu over here.
John Yu, Office Evolution. So I think it would be helpful for that group to know what is the challenge question.
Okay.
What's the challenge question?
Yeah. What is there a single challenge question?
Sure. So one of the challenging question that I would like to please get some help with is when we say AI, the first thing comes Google, Microsoft, and big companies, and there are a lot of actually activities going on in AI. We definitely see that our product is very different from what other companies offer, but we are literally lost in the crowd. So how do we basically build a message so that people actually see us as a company, not a part of the crowd? So that's one of the basically challenging question that we are always try to answer. So any help will be really helpful.
Well, maybe I can elaborate a little bit. You're not a customer-focused product. What you are is you're a tool for developers to help them in their software development.
Exactly.
By utilizing the machine learning aspects of your tool.
Yes.
To help them produce more software and also produce AI agents, correct? Or
Exactly.
machine learning agents for their software.
Great, thank you for that.
Okay, so you're looking more for software companies. You're not looking for, Mr. Anybody over here, Mr. Portnoy, who wants to sit there and build a website. You're not going to be for him at all.
That is correct.
But you would be for, say, a company that's partnered with Google, who's building interactive, intelligent agents in the background to help them manage their systems.
Both actually. The traditional companies, they use multiple applications, and those applications bring the data in. So they also probably want to actually build AI solutions so they can make informed decision or basically leverage on the data. So that's where this platform will help. Say for example, if it's a real estate company, not a traditional IT company, but real estate company, and they collect the data from their website, they collect the data from their ERP systems, the Salesforce, many areas. So they can actually bring the data into the platform and basically get AI solution, basically insight, which is AI driven for future decision making.
Okay.
But the traditional people who will be working on this platform would be basically either technical, like IT personnel from their company, or people from the data science background.
Okay.
So, yes, thank you.
All right, so Ken, and then Ann, and then we'll start over here.
When my daughter started at Virginia Tech, she was taking a math course, and there was a math lab.
Math lab, yeah.
That was built on a mathematics visualization platform.
Yes.
That she was introduced to, and that she would take with her wherever she went, whatever she did. Have you been looking towards academic institutions or partnerships with academic institutions or sales to academic institutions, either on the math side or the data science side, in order to penetrate that market?
I am connected with George Mason University, and I have given some presentation, and I'm trying to work with them to actually set up, momentum platform for basically learning and research purposes. So one effort that I'm actually putting in is in that direction, but that's really
Are
very
you
good.
gonna sell it to them or give it away?
Right now, it's we are giving it away for learning purposes and for academic purposes. But yes, that's. But any suggestion you have, how do we actually penetrate in that market, more aggressively? That would be great.
Well, you're not gonna be well received by the PhD data scientists.
Well, unless you market it that it makes
Actually,
their lives easier,
I would-
then it's a different matter.
I would slightly actually, say it differently, because PhDs, yeah, I mentioned about 80% work that PhD do are really very boring, that, but they have to do it. And that basically the data wrangling aspect of it. Those PhDs are basically supposed to be doing modeling, tweaking the algorithms, not really worrying about how do we bring the data and reformat it and remove the comma and remove the basically, space and all that. That's really not something that we hire PhD to do. So instead of actually giving that kind of task, give them something that is much more valuable and that is basically directly related to their skill. So the PhDs will really shine if they work with our platform, that they don't have to actually waste their time in doing the data wrangling. So,
Ann?
Good morning. A question comes to mind and a comment comes to mind. The question is, I'd like to know your background and your passion and why you started this, because I find so often when people have initial passion and they veer off from that, and sometimes it's helpful to think creatively for you. But the second thing that comes to mind, and it was something the gentleman in front of me said, I was meeting with another company in Reston yesterday, and I love their tagline. And their tagline was about helping their customers build value. I forget the exact line, but to talk about getting rid of scientists or whatever is not. I don't think it's going to be a good long-term play. It's you're helping your customers, your enterprises, because ultimately these software professionals are going to go and be hired and hope to be hired by enterprises that are trying to develop their customer value and talk about that. I mean, you
very good suggestion.
yeah, so we can talk.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
I'm still confused on the type of customer you're looking for. Just any business collecting data, that's probably too broad. I think that if you really want to build your revenue base, you might want to look at specific industries where the need is the greatest and go out from there. And maybe a consultant of some sort, marketing or something, I'm not sure, would be able to help you hone and build your brand. To what Ann just said, I think that, it was, to get rid of scientists or whatever, that's a negative. What you gotta do is you gotta turn that negative into a positive.
Good suggestion. Great, thank you.
I would add to that, in that I'm not clear either. It's you're a small fish in a very big pond, right? And you know this with Google and some others. That when you mention AI, you can spend all your time explaining how you're different, right? Or and I think it's very tough. When you come to systems integrators, are you talking about regional integrators, smaller folks? Are you talking the Accenture, Deloitte of the world? And again, you're in a very crowded space, and I think companies like a Capital One, for example, will want to hire your people away, right? And they'll be also pursued by the Googles of the world or whatever is the big fish.
Absolutely. So, I mentioned Deloitte is one of our basically partners. So we work with companies of all sizes. There are several companies, system integrators of all sizes who have partnered with us, including like Deloitte, Boston Consulting, and those people as well. Yes, it's a very broad platform, and it's a very industry agnostic. So we always say that we built Hammer, and you know, where we want to use it, that's something that we have to really identify and focus for, as you mentioned.
I would really like to see, you ended your presentation with how many the use cases and 500 terabytes. I would like to see, instead of start with that, start with some of those use cases, paint the picture, I think, because AI can be, because people conjure lots of things with AI, but start with some use cases and probably solve is what people want to know about.
Okay, Karen, did you have a question?
All right, over here and then to John, back to Ken.
Your data scientists, excuse me, apparently know that they're spending an awful lot of time doing manual stuff they'd like to avoid. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
So if you can automate their service, and they know that, I guess the other question is do they know that they need a tool that will help them automate some of that? And if they do, then it seems to me like that it ought to be a no-brainer.
Exactly. And they do, and it's a very common knowledge that data scientists spend 80% of their time in data wrangling. That's a very common knowledge, and I worked as a data scientist, and I felt that pain that it takes so much time to basically, before you bring the data to your algorithm, in just data preparation, and it's a very wasteful time for that skill set.
My one other question is, they know that they need the help, and can you explain it so that they know that your tool will solve their problem?
Absolutely, yes. So yes, that's definitely we can explain, and it's a very obvious that basically we automate the entire step of doing basically AI. And it's not just the algorithm writing or as such, but from data, from the data source all the way to visualization, everything can be automated. So once you automate it, it will basically continuously run without even you monitoring, or of course monitoring is required, but without any interference, or you don't need to be basically always working with it. You automate the entire process and you get insight. So for the businesses, what they actually mean, what they want is the final output, final outcome that they can actually use for decision making. And most businesses really don't care how it is built and developed to get to that level. So automating that process is really key. Thank you.
These guys know me as the Toastmasters guys. They don't know me as a geek. I studied forward chaining inference engines in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And have a master's in information systems, and worked for a contractor that did data integration in around 2002. So I get this. Do you have an intellectual property attorney that you use?
No, not at this time. Yes.
I'm gonna give you an idea that needs to be checked out with an intellectual property attorney. Easy AI.
Do you mind if I write?
It's on the
No, you'll pass it in, don't worry. And it's also being recorded, so.
Okay, great.
Easy AI. Bringing easy AI to business and government.
Okay.
Right? What you're doing is easy AI.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And you want to bring it to business and government.
Yes.
Right? There you go.
Very,
Freebie.
Very nice.
The
Thank
marketing
you.
guys, I'm sorry I took that work away from you.
Easy AI.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Savino with Gravitate. You had mentioned your challenge question was, how do we get ourselves in front of our target partners and customers? And one thing I haven't heard, and maybe you can kind of talk about it a little bit more, is what is it that your product, your company does differently and more impactfully than the big brands who you think you're competing with?
Sure. I can quickly touch on that, but yeah, that's very, very good point. So, as I mentioned in one of the value metrics that I showed, where we fall in the fourth quadrant, basically developing AI involves multiple steps, and traditionally multiple tools are being actually utilized, and multiple skill sets are being used to basically get from point A to all the way to N. And the companies like, let's say IBM Watson or even Google or Microsoft, all these companies are providing tools to automate or basically work on each of those steps. So basically, in order to build the AI, you use different tools, and these companies provide you those tools. Somebody has to come and basically tie those tools together to get the solution end to end.
So, if I can translate,
Yeah.
Microsoft, Google, IBM, they're giving you a carburetor, 4 wheels, a steering
Exactly.
column. You're giving people a car.
That's exactly
There you
right.
go.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
That's your competitive advantage.
Yes.
And if you want to stand out in a crowd, if you want people to see the value in what you're doing, position that, your unique value proposition, because that will translate into the right ROI, that will get people's attention with you.
Very good point. Thank you.
And that'll
That's
help
very-
elevate your branding.
Yeah, that's one of the challenging problems to be. Great, thank you.
I'm going to step in as moderator. Every now and then, the moderator gets a chance to sit there and ask their own question. So I'm going to step in at this point. It was interesting in your presentation that you were covering all the aspects of it. But what you're doing and the way your approach so far has been, you are a big game fisherman, okay? You're one of the best big game fishermen. You've got a great tackle box. You've got a great crew behind you, okay? You even got a really cool boat, okay? Problem is you don't have a captain who knows where the marlin are, and those are the big fish. What you need to do is start looking for an evangelist. Now, part of with what he was talking about with the Easy AI and a couple of others, there are organizations that are out there, but there are plenty of organizations that need and have hardcore PhD level data scientists that are all, if you'll excuse the terminology, in fifth gear, out full gas going down the highway. Okay, what you're solving is the mundane aspects of their job and their lives. Okay, to a standard group of people who don't understand software development and don't understand data science, they're not picking up and grasping, how cool this is. What you need is someone who is impassioned like you are, who knows the right language and how to communicate with those data scientists so that he can walk into or she can walk into, say, MITRE, meet with their top data scientist and say, look, I can solve 25 to 35% of your daily toil with this app. That's the differentiator, okay? What Rosemary was hitting on is the fact that you have a differentiator, but what you're doing is you're fishing in the wrong ponds. You need someone to get you out into the ocean. That just takes that one person to go door to door.
And I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was capitalizing both what you said, because Microsoft, for example, will give away A to get B and C. So you need to paint your unique value proposition. You need to have that mentor, evangelist to say, no, you need to look at this, right? So painting that unique value proposition will save you, because Microsoft and IBM will give stuff away in order to get that piece of the business, because they're going to get these others. So
we are seeing
we
that.
don't have that same.
My father used to joke about the fact that he had a joke. It was a great joke, a fishing joke. That's why I used the analogy for you. He used to sit there and talk about the fact that he would go fishing in this beautiful lake, and the lake was beautiful, and he'd sit there and love fishing. His frustration was he never caught any fish. And the guy who lived on the lake said, yeah, because there are no fish in here. He said, so why don't you go to another lake? He said, why? This place is great. All right? It's that situation, okay? You need someone to tell you what lake is where all the fish are. And that's why having an evangelist, it's not a matter of messaging, because your messaging is so specific to one very specific category of customer that what you need is someone to get you in front of the customer in the right way. Because you can use social media, you can use all these different tools that are available to most companies, but unless your customers are in those areas, and I know a lot of data scientists, they're not on social media. Okay? By the sheer nature of what they do, they're focused on doing this job, doing the grunt work of what your product solves. So that's why I keep going back to, just takes that one evangelist, maybe someone in the industry, maybe not someone who's familiar enough and has some contacts in that industry, who can, by their legitimacy, get in the door. And it's so specific what you do even though everybody sees it as something broad, what you're doing is very specific. Just getting in front of them. Your partners can help to some degree, but unless they have a financial interest in themselves helping you, it's going to be, they're not going to be your champion. They're not going to be your evangelist.
And I think that's a very good point. And now the next challenge comes is how do we find and engage with the evangelists?
Yep.
And I think that's.
I know a really good marketing guy who's in between assignments.
All right, that's not what I'm trying to do.
One of the recurring themes I've heard is your value proposition and how you want to empower the data scientist, not replace necessarily. And return on investment, which you got to later on, Johnson & Johnson, Deloitte, etc. Perhaps if you led with an example, and it could be company agnostic, you don't mention any names. So last night I was at an artificial intelligence event, and they were talking about CPUs versus GPUs, and the metrics were, 1/8 the power, 1/15 the space, and 1/18 the cost. Wow, you've got somebody there. So do you have an example that you could share with us that could be your opening? Again, you don't have to mention anything specifically. Here's our value proposition, because I think that would help to create, this is what your evangelist would use, right?
Absolutely.
Anything that you can share?
There are many examples, and I'm just debating in my mind which one I should take. But let me just give you one pretty much similar idea, similar concept. One of the companies in Los Angeles were trying to solve some very specific geospatial problem. They were trying to solve for almost a year, and they came to us. We gave them proof of concept within 24 hours. And that was, very quick turnaround. And that definitely solved the problem. And the problem was not just the mathematics, but also was about, the data scale, like enormous amount of, geospatial data that we receive. How do we process them in real time? So we literally gave them solution overnight. Of course, it took us some time to build a complete application, but when it comes to solving the problem, it was like overnight.
Do you have metrics that you could use with that dollars, time saved, space required?
It would be hard to exactly quantify that, but we could definitely do that.
Data scientists.
Well, just take a use case. Just from any one of your customers, just take a use case where they use your tool and how many hours they saved, and then just take what that person's hourly rate is, and just translate that to dollars saved.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
That would be your hook.
But most importantly, I think for your music, you said if you like my work and you recommend me to two of your colleagues in the industry.
Well, I mean, in this particular industry, it's a unique competitive nature,
Yes.
and honestly, anyone who has even a leg up on somebody else isn't going to share that. So, two questions left. And then
So I wrote down something you said, no data science skill needed with your platform. That's a very risky thing to say because someone will challenge you on that, but that can be your unique differentiator, because if you can paint the picture that and I would change it to limited or something that when you say no data, no skill required, that's a big statement.
Stay away from absolutes.
Yeah, stay away from absolutes, and so that could be your differentiator right there. And if you can paint the picture to the decision maker that he can save how much money by doing this, then that gets the whole thing started and that makes you much more unique.
intuitive. It's an intuitive tool that can be used by data scientists.
I like that.
Thanks for getting up here and presenting, by the way. I know what it's like. But I keep looking at the word ecosystem behind Tony. And then this gentleman mentioned you went to an artificial intelligence event last night. And I think an easy thing you could do this summer or in the fall is host an event somewhere in the DC metro area where maybe you put a panel together, or you're the experts, or you and your board sit and talk about this, because then you get people that work at Deloitte, IBM, and everybody up and down the 267 corridor. So maybe you're just hosting an event, and then you start to build your ecosystem, and you could do that in DC, New York City, wherever you want to do that. But a connection I'd be more happy to talk with you, is I teach at General Assembly as well, so I think they have a great body of students that are talking the language that I'm not getting right now.
Okay, great.
And same thing, I think there's a lot of veterans that come out of the military, especially like Air Force and Navy, that are very technically sound in a lot of the things you're talking about, but they're lost on like, where do I work? How do I help? And there might be people that you can put into your
Oh,
ecosystem.
great. Is it okay if I contact you later after this?
Everybody put their contact information down. We've got a good, all right, real quick.
It's gonna be super quick because I don't have much of an idea. I kind of you highlighted what you're doing, but I think for people like me that I'm not an IT person, simplify your message. Because I might have a company that my people that work in IT in my company might need your service, but I'm as the business owner, I have no clue about it. So if you like he said, a tagline where you have like, okay, you saved that much, this is what it is, simplify it, because half the stuff you talked about, you don't have a clue. But if you make it simple enough that people like regular people understand it, that maybe business owners that might be able to give you business, that I think would help.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So traditionally, our what do we call it? Our senior organizer, Donnell, asks the final question every week, but he is in California with family right now. So I am tasked with asking the final question from the organizers, and that is this: how can the 1 Million Cups community help you in your endeavors?
First, thank you for that question, and I think this is the first step that I'm here, and I'm introduced with great-minded people here. So that's the first step, and that's a very big help. Now, for the future, I think some of the suggestions that you provided about the evangelist, I think that's a very good idea, and I think we got a lot of good ideas from rest of the people. Working with 1 Million Cups, trying to figure out how do we actually make that actionable and take some action would be very helpful.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. Let me just, so on behalf of the 1 Million Cups and Kaufman Foundation, I'd like to present you with the official 1 Million Cups coffee cup that you can put on your shelf and acknowledge and remember this day for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Come back up.
Thank you.
All right.
I was totally lost. I'm very creative, so analytics and numbers kind of goes over my head. But it was very engaging. I did learn a lot from it. At this time, I'd like to introduce Kevin and get a follow-up on what happened with his 1 Million Cups and the engagement he had.
Sure. Everybody, thank you so much for having me back. I'll keep this short and sweet. I know the coffee's probably running out. We need to reload on caffeine. So I presented in February of 2018, so just about a year and a half ago, and my good friend Rod Loges, who I don't think he's still associated with this group, but he convinced me and twisted my arm to be one of the first 5 presenters. I got up here, and very much like you, it felt like my brain was on fire with ideas, as well as like, oh crap, I'm not doing enough. And I left there with probably 3 takeaways. One was the processes of my business. So my business, before I kind of get into this, is I run a digital storytelling agency, and we have 2 arms of the business. One is creating content, so videos, mini documentaries, social videos, videos for fundraising campaigns, and then I do training and consulting to actually help organizations that want to do it in-house or learn how to do social media strategy in-house. And anyway, I left there because my challenge question was, how do I help the current client base and customers that I have? How do I go deeper with them? How do I let them know that I have these 2 arms of my business? Because sometimes they hire me for one versus the other. And the suggestion that people left me with the 1 Million Cups Fairfax team was processes. So how do I onboard and educate my clients? The second thing was marketing my own self. So we created an email newsletter that we put out monthly and let people know of client success stories on both sides of the business. And then just overall the operations of my business and being okay with one client using me for one or the other. And 1 Million Cups has been so compelling to me that I went and wound up starting a chapter in DC last July. And it wasn't until just March of this year that I actually had to take a step back because my business has grown so much. I'll be heading into my 5th year this year. And we just produced 23 digital assets, have done about 6 trainings already just in the first 6 months of this year, versus previous years we were doing about 5, 10, 12 videos or digital assets a year. So things have really taken off. And I owe a lot to the 1 Million Cups community of just the supporting an ecosystem like you were talking about. So Donnell, if you're watching, thank you for emailing me and inviting me back. But this is
He's
a great
watching.
community. Yeah. This has been a great community, and yeah, I'm glad I came out in February 2018 and presented and got up here. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
And I'd like to mention the upcoming speakers, presenters that we have. Next week, Mark Silverman and Associates will be presenting. And then after that, Picture This, actually just met her a couple of weeks ago, very engaging. Will be July 3rd, will be Picture This. And then D.H. Hill Financial will be coming up on July 10th.
Mark Silverman, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, he's a fairly regular attendee. He is a business coach, but he's a published author, and his most recent book, which is what he's going to be talking about, is Only Tens. And it's a very interesting book and concept. It's only a couple of dollars on Amazon. I'm not promoting him specifically, but having read the book, I now understand what his challenge question, I have a better understanding what his challenge question is. So if you get the chance, do it. Read it. It only takes about an hour and a half to read. It's not a very long book, but very interesting concept on how to prioritize your life. So that might be a very fun discussion next week.
All right. And because we are a community, there are other community events going on in the area. I'm a member of the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce. We have a ribbon cutting tomorrow at Nothing Bunt Cakes in Fair Oaks, and everybody who attends gets a little bunt cake as a souvenir. To
Yep,
take.
and Marge and Mike are wonderful owners. They've been dear friends of mine for years. So they have the first store opened in Vienna, right on Maple Avenue. This is the second store. They've been doing so great. They're opening a second store already within 6 months of opening the first one. So yeah, go. And I will likely be there. The Kevin McGuire, who is the area's only master somm and master of wine, will be there doing wine tastings with bunts. So he's doing wine paired with bunt cakes. So that'll be from 5 to 7, and the ribbon cutting is at 6.
Yes.
There goes my diet.
Is there any other events coming up that you guys would like to announce, Ken?
The next Toastmasters meeting in Tyson's in the morning, Tuesday next week, will be the last one for our fiscal year. It will be the end of our membership discount program. We're discounting our memberships by 20%. Come see how Toastmasters works, and maybe even become a member.
I just want to highlight tonight at just down the street, Bombay Tandoor, there is a networking event put on by Dip Chandra. He's the regional person for BNI Nova North. It is a free event. It's BNI and non-BNI members, so it's a great way for you to meet other business owners. And it's every third Wednesday from 5:30 to 7:30 at Bombay Tandoor.
I belong to the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. We have our networking night coming up on the 25th. It's at Accure in Reston. The fee is typically $30. Let me know if you want to attend. I will register you, and have the fee waived. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 at Accure, Reston. So thank you.
If you've ever had the following email conversation, please let me know. Thanks for the info. Can you please send me the file? Happened to me twice today. I'm having a webinar on a week tomorrow, so Thursday next week at lunchtime. I'm happy to show you how Gravitate can help you avoid misses and near misses with clients, key partners, customers, and coworkers. Let me know. I'll give you the Eventbrite sign up, or just ping me on LinkedIn or something.
Yeah, I belong to Optimus International. We are a service group that we handle Falls Church and Arlington areas for youth organizations. We fundraise for them and provide services to youth. We sponsor various sports clubs, ice hockey, rifle teams, baseball and soccer. We're always looking for new members. So next Wednesday night, we meet at the Arlington Weston on Glebe Road from 5:30 to 7:30. Free hors d'oeuvres, free drinks. Just please stop on by. I'll be there, and we are looking for new members, and membership is pretty reasonable priced. So if you're interested in public service, helping the youth of our Northern Virginia area, I greatly appreciate you seeing me afterwards. Weston next Wednesday night, 5:30.
Thank you all for coming. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yay.